¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes a todos, amigos de Vericu. Hoy estamos muy contentos de tener la presencia de una leyenda del metal escandinavo, el señor Grutle Kjellson. Grutle, welcome to Vericu. We're outside from Mexico, and we're very happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, man. First, I wanna talk about your next visit to Mexico, which is in November. You're set to, and you're invited to this festival called MxMF. It's a big outdoor festival, and me as a fan myself, that I've seen Enslaved many times and in different formats. How do you prepare for a big outdoor festival, aside from, or what are the differences versus a show that is just yourselves?
Well, obviously the preparations. When we have a club show or a show for ourselves, we of course have a sound check. We have it's more calm. More time for technicians to set up, and yeah, everything is much more secure.
Yeah.
So an outdoor festival is like everything is like done in a rush, and everyone has to be prepared, both the band and the technicians, and obviously there's bigger chances for some fuck ups one way or the other. So it's always a more tense feeling when you
Yeah.
on stage of a big festival. But I mean, as soon as we have started the show, it's like approximately the same. You got to do your best anyway, and I like to paraphrase Bon Scott here. You should always pretend you're playing in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah.
Always.
Exactly.
If it's, yeah, it really doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter if it's like 10 people or 10,000. Of course there is, but I mean the mentality should be pinned towards that. Yeah, that should be the ethos of live playing.
Yeah. And it's very fun that you mentioned Bon Scott, because as I mentioned, as I've seen you before, I think Enslaved, aside from other Norwegian black metal, let's call it black metal bands, it's a very fun band to watch. It's very rock and roll. How do you prepare for that experience in order to connect with the audience?
I mean, it's a live show. It should always be. I mean, in our point of view, it should always be in some sort of an interaction between the band and the audience. I've never. I mean, I can watch like a super introvert band, of course, but I personally like it to be like creating a certain symbiosis, pulling together, you know. Because I mean, you are not playing in your rehearsal space or making a music video or whatever. You're actually performing in front of an audience that more or less paid to see the show, and I think the spectators deserve that. They deserve to be included somehow, and it's about the exchange of energy. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
That should always be the approach, I think.
Yeah, perfect. Now, so last year, and speaking about the current work of the band, you released the magnificent album Heimdall, right? Which again explores more in depth the Norse mythology that we're familiar with, Enslaved. So my questions here, Rudle, are: how important is for you to for your identity or where you're from, right? The North, and how important is for you to remain or incorporate new ideas in order not to repeat yourselves all the time?
I mean, we've been around since 1991, which is a fairly long time right now. It's 33 years, as a matter of fact. And I think it's crucial for our existence to always try to make something new and something fresh, something interesting for ourselves. In order to stay alive as a band, I mean, we could never be repeating ourselves, making the same song all over again. I mean, I don't think we're not. It's simply not good enough. I mean, AC/DC could do that. You know, they could stick to a formula, but you have to be super skilled and super good at what you're doing to be able to do so. To be like a formula based. I mean, so we like to explore further. We like to make this. I think we are too impatient for sticking to one idea, one formula. So we like to expand. We like to drift away, so to speak, and that's interesting for us, you know, as songwriters, composers, and song arrangers, you know. That's one of the most, from my part, that's one of the most enjoyable things about being in a band. Working on new songs, trying out new ideas, finding new angles, try not to repeat what you have done like on 15 albums before. Well, that can be a challenge, of course, but I think that's really, really entertaining, and that's something I really still appreciate a lot.
And you still explore all this mythology, I guess, in order for bringing new ideas into the table, right?
Absolutely. I mean, keep in mind that all these stories were written down centuries after they were like sort of created. So and they were mostly written down by Christian monks, Christian scholars, and that only wrote them as like some sort of burlesque and funny stories. But I mean, we like to dig into these texts and dig into archaeology and petroglyphs and try to make a wider picture of those stories. Try to figure out a deeper meaning and interpretations, and that's something that will just continues, and we find a lot of interesting new themes by turning those stones, so to speak. And so that kind of goes hand in hand with musical exploration as well.
Of course.
I mean, always been like open-minded towards other styles, other types of music. We really don't see ourselves. I mean, we are a metal band, but I mean, metal comes from from somewhere, you know. And we like to bring in new ideas and develop the music. Because there's still a lot of musical territory to explore, and we are happy to do so.
Okay, you just mentioned something that made me remember or sparked a very personal question. So Mardrum is my favorite Enslaved album. And and there's the first song. Let me see if I pronounce it right. Sontore en Tip. It's it sounds like a black metal Kim Grinsom, right? Like it resonates with the Adrian Belew. Is that something you created on purpose, or something just happened in the studio?
That really just happened. I mean, we have been listening a lot to King Crimson, for instance. So it's kind of simple, really. We don't have any goals of, for example, okay, we're gonna make a song that resembles King Crimson. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's more like the color of the music, or the music you're making, are obviously colored by the music you have been listening to in between the albums and at the time being. And King Crimson has been an inspiration for us for like at least 25 years. So it's an important band for us, along with hundreds of other bands, of course. But
of course, yeah. But you can
back then, yeah. Back then, at the time of the recording of Madrum, we were listening to a fair share of King Crimson albums.
Nice, nice. So I'm glad.
I don't hear that too often. So thank you.
No. Thank you, man. It means a lot. So, speaking of which, Grutle, I want to ask you about. You recently participated in the Beyond the Gates festival, right? And that was somehow special because you participated in the Bathory tribute, right? So again, this is a two-question. First, what can you describe about the whole festival experience and participate in that tribute? And the second part that I wanted to ask you is how important it is for you to remain fans of something in order to remain a creative band?
Well, first, Beyond the Gates has grown to be one of my favorite festivals, and it's like it takes place in Grieghallen, where we recorded our debut album. We recorded Frost. We recorded Eld. We recorded Isa. I think that was the last one, and Below the Lights, of course. Yeah. So, and it's like it's a special building for especially for Western Norwegians as myself. It really means something to perform in that room, and we for the first time. I mean, we recorded albums all over Grieghallen. The first studio was situated in the basement, and the second studio was situated on the third floor. And I've also been working on a lot of productions in the big room, both rock concerts and operas and everything. So I spent a lot of time in that building, and it was a certain nostalgic feeling to it, obviously, and of course, being part of the Bathory tribute was huge for me. The first time we did it was like 20 years ago. In a different venue, and it was like right after he passed away. And some of the musicians, it was like at least me and Bård Faust on drums, Ivar obviously, and Ole Jørgen Mo on bass guitar, and myself and Satir from Satirican. We all participated in the first one, so that was a really cool thing to meet again after 20 years and do something like the same. And I made new acquaintances. I met Fredrik Melander, the first bass player.
I saw him play. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we became friends. We were super cool. So, and it was such a great, massive feeling, and every single and I have to mention Gal, of course. He was also participating in the first one 20 years ago. So we had so many. Well, the stage thing was one thing, of course, the concert, and but when we all gathered backstage for drinks afterwards, and then backing each other up before we went on stage, it was like being 18 years old again.
Yeah, that's great. That's
like it was like where it all started. It just felt amazing. It was perfect. What a night.
I saw it on YouTube. I couldn't make it, but you can feel that. That's what I ask you about the energy of being a fan. It's not always shown when you're a big household name like Enslaved or Gorgoroth or Satirical, right?
If you are not still a fan of music or of a certain band, so might as well. Then it will no longer be something to stretch out for, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a challenge anymore. And we are all huge fans of you know, different bands, and we are still discovering either old bands from the 70s or new bands. So it's about it's part of the search. It's part of the journey as a musician. You have to be hungry somehow, and checking out new music or old music is part of that.
Yeah, old music, even if it's new for you. Yeah,
exactly. You know, I mean, there's a lot of undiscovered music. Yeah, you know, if you want to go hundreds of years backwards as well, you know.
Yeah, there's probably something in there. Okay, man.
It's so much good music there yet to be discovered. Yeah.
Nice. And then well, finally, I know we're running out of time, but anything you want to say for those fans expecting you, and for those people who have never seen Enslaved live before, what can they expect from you guys?
Pure Norse energy, and this is pretty exciting, this tour, because this is the first festival tour we're doing in Latin America. We've done like club shows and stuff like that, but we've never ever played any bigger festivals. So we're gonna do in Colombia, we're gonna do Mexico, we're gonna do Chile.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do our first show ever in Argentina, and
oh, that's gonna be wild.
Yeah. And we're gonna do Brazil. Brazil and Argentina are like our own shows, like club shows.
Yeah,
that's more back to normal. But the 3 big festivals is gonna be exciting. Yeah, because we never played any big festivals in Mexico.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be different. It's gonna be exciting.
Perfect.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Well, Grutle, thank you very much for your time and for this interview. It was very fascinating meeting you, and tusen tack, and see you very soon in Mexico City in November. All right.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care, man. Bye bye.
You too. Bye bye.